Well, good morning, YouTube. Hi guys, we are back out at the shop. I don't really have a good game plan for today, but I know I wanted to get something done. If you look outside, it's been a pretty rainy, miserable day, actually for like the last 2 days. So it's a good time to do things inside. And in the last video you saw, we got these pallet rack shelving pieces in place, and that was a good start to the shelving project. But I'm gonna need more. And as I walk in today, now that these have been built, I see we got a little issue down here. So when I made my filler piece, I guess I made it a little too tight, put a little too much pressure. Now that there's been some humidity and moisture, see we got a little bit of a bow going on there. So I'm gonna pop my little small piece out. I'm gonna cut like another 1/4 of an inch or so off of it. And then hopefully it'll fit in and just lay flat like the others do. And well, that was an easy enough little 2-minute fix. So as you can see, I brought some sawhorses over. I've made myself a little table because I do plan on cutting some wood today. Thinking about building some shelves and maybe a workbench in this area here. In my mind, I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to lay this place out. And I've got a couple of basic guidelines, but no absolute 100% set plan. So that's what we're working on today. Now, I think I've touched on it on some earlier videos, but I'll go over it again really quick. And this is my basic idea of how I want it set up. This room right here behind me is like the biggest room. There's no problem with fitting 2 cars in here, project cars. And I happen to have 2 project cars sitting at home that I want to start working on in the near future. I've got my 87 Z28 Camaro that used to be my old, allegedly, used to be my old street racing car. And I've also got a 1985 Monte Carlo that was actually Talons' first car. We bought it for him. Well, he helped buy it. And we just ended up never using his first car. So I think we're gonna keep the Monte Carlo, but I think the Camaro, I just wanna fix it up and probably sell it, roll that money into another project, probably the Monte Carlo. So that I think will take place in here. We can get both cars in here, got room to take them apart, got room to put parts on shelves, and we'll probably still build more shelves, a couple workbenches. And those are long-term projects. They're not gonna be in and out of here on a weekend. But this room is big enough for me to get both cars in here and to be able to work around them and not be cramped in a really tight space. Now, just off to the left of that, well, left if you're in the center of the building looking out at the door, is this bay here. And I think I'm gonna make this the primary motorcycle service bay. There's enough room in here that I think I can comfortably fit 3 lifts plus some workbenches and some shelves for parts and accessories. And I like this one for that because I work on motorcycles more than I work on cars, to be honest. And this has the 2 windows in it that once I get rid of those shades or shutters or whatever you want to call them on the outside, I can actually get some pretty good natural light in here, and I think it'll be a good spot for that. And because it's got the big opening that joins with the room we were just talking about, I think I'm gonna put my tire machine right here at this corner. That way, working on motorcycles right there, working on the car projects, tire machines right there, plus another workbench and all the other tire accessories along here. So these 2 rooms will be the primary project rooms and service rooms. I'm not sure if I'm phrasing that right. And then we've got the bay all the way over here. Now this one here is pretty close to being similar to the last room we were in. I think lengthwise is the same, but it's actually a little bit wider. And I thought this would be a good room to keep for like immediate services. Like say I got to pull my dually in and do some work on it. This would be a good bay to pull it in, work on it, do what I got to do, get it back out. Not long-term projects necessarily. And when I say long-term, I mean not something that's going to sit here for months or years, but something that even if I got to wait on parts, might only be here a week or so. It really all depends. But I think that's a good bay to do it. Because it's wider is why I wanted to keep it for working on vehicles rather than the motorcycles, because having that extra room to work around them could come in really handy. Also, because it's mostly segregated from the rest of the shop by this walk-through door and this big opening here, I thought about building like a false wall there, or one that I can put in and out whenever I want to. And this could be our makeshift paint booth if ever need be. Now, as we move into the main big room that's here, obviously I put some of the pallet rack shelving in here behind me and some right over there. So this will be a lot of storage area because I've got a lot of parts that are for projects that I haven't started yet. Kind of got to keep them out of the way of projects that I'm currently working on or will be currently working on. But also in this area here, I have 2 more vehicles at home that I want to move in here. So I mentioned the Camaro and the Monte Carlo, which will go over here. And currently they are in my garage at home. What's not in my garage at home is my Eddie Bauer Bronco and my 73 International pickup truck that belonged to my grandfather. Those, unfortunately, are sitting out in the weather. And although I'm not ready for those projects just yet, I want to get them out of the weather. And I think I'm going to store them right here. The Bronco and the pickup truck right here. Try to leave room to come out from that doorway behind them to get to those rooms. And leave room over here by the shelving. These vehicles will not get worked on here. They will just get stored here until they get moved to this bay to actually get the project work done on them. But I just got to get them out of the weather. The trucks are getting in really bad shape sitting out in the weather for the last 10 years. And right off of the big main room, we have this bay here that is open to the big room. And this is where I'm a little undecided what I'm going to do here. The wall areas to the side, as we discussed in the previous videos, aren't very big. There's not a lot of room on either side once you get something in here. So not sure exactly what I'm going to do here just yet. It may just end up being shop area, like specialty tools. We'll get into that in a moment. And then bay number 5, which is like 2 sections. The one here where you see Project X in it right now, and this section here, which is pretty good and wide. What's nice about this one is this bay has the tall door. So as you know, the Excursion is lifted, it's not stock, and all the other doors are 8-foot doors, and the Excursion really doesn't fit in there. I mean, if I push up on the door as I'm backing in, I can squeeze them in, I think. But this door is 12 foot or something. Yeah, I think that's a 12-foot door, so I've got plenty of room to get it in there. Realistically, even if I needed to work on Goliath and I get them over here, I can pull the nose of Goliath into here. I won't get the whole truck in, but at least get the nose in here. Say I want to do some engine work and the weather's bad and I don't want to do it outside. This is a good bay for that. So we'll keep this primarily open for those special projects as well. And truth is, even when I bring the Bronco over, it sits taller than the Excursion because it's got about a 9-inch lift kit on it and oversized tires plus a light bar with the old style KC lights on top. This is the only door it's going to be able to get through as well. And since I'm going to store it back there, we got to keep this area open enough to get that in. So once it is in here, we can't really block this bay off because we're going to have to be able to get that truck out at some point. Now, I think when I move it to the room over there in order to start working on it, I think the height of that header that you see right here is high enough to get the Bronco through there. But when the Bronco was done, it's not going to be able to go out through the other door. It'll have to come back out through this door. So this area has to stay somewhat open, or at least have stuff in it that I can move when that time comes, which could be years from now. Now, I said special equipment. So maybe this bay here and the bay where the Excursion is right now, I want to invest in some more equipment. I'm looking at getting a burn table, maybe like a CNC burn table, maybe even like a small machine lathe or a mill or something, because some of the projects I want to do, I don't want to just go buy parts for. I want to be able to make certain items. And some of my projects, I don't have a choice. Sometimes, like for the GMC General, Goliath, you can't buy parts for it. So some things I'm just going to have to make. And the only reason I haven't invested in some of these tools previously is I honestly just don't have a place to put them. You guys have seen how small the shop is at home, and it's so cluttered and crowded with stuff that there is no room to add anything else. There isn't even enough room to work on the projects that I want to work on in there, let alone try to add more equipment that I won't be able to use because I can't do projects. This whole new shop area is beat up and ratty as it is going to give me the ability to do a lot more of the stuff that I really want to do. So if you guys have any ideas or any sketches that you want to draw out and show me what you think I should do here, I am always open to ideas, even though I kind of have a game plan of what I want, but some of you may just make that light bulb go off and go, you know what, that would work better. So tell me what you think. All right, now back to today's project. Still got to figure out exactly what I want to do. I've got that wood grid work that's already there on the wall, so I can just probably build something off of that. I could always pull that stuff off of the wall and salvage it for something else, but I don't really think I need to do that. So I've got to come up with a plan of what I want to do. Remember, we've got all of this lumber that was left behind in this building. You got all this 1x stuff that's only like 6 inches wide. So that's going to make some really good smaller shelves for putting stuff like, you know, bottles of oil and cans of paint and stuff like that. Stuff that I don't need the really big deep shelves for. But I've also got a lot of the 2x over here. If I need to build a sturdy set of shelves or a bench, I've got some pretty good solid stuff here to work with as well. All right, so just goofing off, I've got 2 narrow shelves in. This is just scraps of plywood that were ripped. And they were just leaning against this wall. I only even had to make 1 cut to get these up, and that's just because this piece here, you see it's a little bit wider than this one, but I don't care. It was a little bit too long, so I had to take about 1.5 inches off of it. But the rest of this, it's just screwed into the back, so I'm gonna have to put an angle brace underneath it still, because you know you can't really put a whole lot of weight out on the front edge of it. But for scrap that was just laying here, I think that worked out pretty good. Now for the angle braces, I'll probably just end up using what's left over from that scrap I had the other day. Just cut a few of those at 45-degree angles and screw them in up there to support that edge. All right, a couple of quick 45s, and once I put that in there, I think that will work. There we go. I think that will work well. So I just got to duplicate this 1, 2, 3, 4, well, 5 more times. And well, I think that worked out pretty well all the way down. These shelves are now pretty dang sturdy. I mean, I can yank on them pretty good. They're not going anywhere. All right, and bottom shelf done. You know, the old second verse, same as the first type thing. Unfortunately, I've got to call it quits for the day. Wasn't my plan, but Kathy over at Tri-State Upholstery just called me. She's got the awning that goes on Goliath, and she's doing some repairs and some upgraded things that I wanted done to it. And she wants me to come by and take a look at it and go over a few things and see how it goes. So I'm going to run over there and do that, so I can drive all over to Hayesville now. So we're going to stop here for the moment, and then we'll be back. Okay, guys, it's been a couple of hours, but I'm back. Had to go all the way to Hayesville, consulted with them on the awning, and then they were finishing it up, and then they just called me, and they're done with it. So tomorrow we're going to go pick that up and get it put back in Goliath so we don't forget to take it with us when we head out to Panama. And the good news is, in the time that I was gone, it looks like our weather out here has definitely started to clear up. You see, it looks really beautiful that way. Not so beautiful that way, but it's moving away. So let's hope that the sunshine stays. Now that we've got these 2 shelf systems done, what I'd like to do down here is actually make a bench that comes out maybe about 20 to 24 inches. Maybe, no, yeah, maybe only 20 or 22 inches. Not real far, just a little workbench for I could take a project off of a car. If I could come over and disassemble something, got a place to do it. Got the shelves here where some of the tools that I would use would be in that place. So I'm gonna look through my materials and figure out what's the best way to build it. All right, so sorting through the rest of the plywood I have here, I've got these 2 pieces laying on the floor, and I've laid them end to end. And they come out about 2.5, 3 feet short of the wall over there. But I've got 2 more pieces here. So you see this one's got some damage up here, so I don't know. Like, we don't want to use this as a full piece. We can cut that damage out of there. But I think I'm going to use this to build a topper. One of those pieces on the floor is 22.5 inches wide. The other one is 23.5 inches wide. So we'll just go with the shortest set. And we're going to build a bench there somehow. I think that'll work. All right, if you guys remember when I was stacking all the wood that was in what we used to call the wood room, I have a couple pieces that are really big and sturdy. And this one here is, I don't know, it's probably like a 2x6, give or take, rough cut. But after the 10-foot mark, you see that curve? That curve? It's pretty warped on there, so that end is kind of useless. But I think if I make a bench there 10 feet, and I've got like 10.5 feet on that wall. So if I'm a little bit short, no big deal. This will be the front beam. The back will be the existing wood. And then I'm just gonna make some legs, put the top on it, and a couple mid supports. I think that'll be the quickest, simplest, easiest way to do it. So that is a big, sturdy piece of wood. So that is the front edge, will be very strong. But you can see the way that it warps down there at that far end. But the rest of it is relatively straight. Okay, so the actual measurement is 1 7/8 by 4 5/8. So it's definitely bigger than a 2x4. Not quite a 2x6, but either way, it's plenty strong to make a workbench. And if I pull 10 feet off of that wall, it's gonna bring me to right here, which is only a few inches short of the end of the wall anyways. My tape measure is having issues. Relatively new tape measure even. Well, I've tried clipping off the catchy parts, but somehow I don't think this tape measure is gonna make it through the rest of the day. All right, now that we're dealing with heavier wood, it's time to break out the heavier saw. And I'm gonna get Pandora opened up here because I need some working music. So who should we pick to listen to today? Looks like Chicago radio. It is. No, that's not Chicago, but I'm sure they'll come on soon. Turn around. Almost ironic since the eclipse was this weekend and the name of the song is Total Eclipse of the Heart. Now I'm really not sure what kind of wood this is, but it smells really good when I cut it. All right, so I got a lot of my pieces pre-cut, ready for assembly, but wouldn't luck have it, I gotta go again. Well, it turns out we're having some supplies for the Love Jugs product delivered to the house today, all the little rubber dampeners and stuff like that we put in every unit. And apparently our Estes driver didn't drop it at the house, didn't even drop it at the gate. He dropped it at the road at the end of the driveway, just sitting there, and it's getting ready to storm. So I've got to close up, run over there, and take care of that. Yeah, our pretty day didn't last long. It's getting nasty. Katie just called me, said it's going to storm really bad. So I got to run. We'll catch up to this in a little while. All right, I'm back. Really wasn't gone all that long. It's about 6:45 now, and I really want to get this workbench built tonight. If I'm done with that, then I'll be happy, and then I can go home. But so I just ran home, got that stuff put away. He said the driver just left it at the end of the driveway. This is kind of what it looked like right here. Yeah, so I'm really disappointed in that driver for just leaving it like that. No phone call, no nothing. So I did get a text message saying it was delivered, but that was it. So, all right, let's get back to work. All right, so my next dilemma is, you know, how here I use this backing board is the back ledger for these shelves. If I do the same thing down here, that's gonna put my bench about 36 inches. Well, I'm 6'2", so I think 36 inches is gonna be a little lower than I'm gonna be comfortable with. So I'd like to raise it to about 42. So I think I'm gonna have to hang another ledger board in here just to let the back of that shelf sit on. So I think I've got some 1x4 over there that I can just scrap out and tack up here, and hopefully that'll fix that problem. All right, got my ledger board in. Now I'm going to switch to some longer screws and start putting my cross pieces in. All right, guys, it took me a little while to get all the angles right, but it's all cross braced underneath. And I did an angle bracing back instead of legs to the floor. Now I did that because I wanted to leave the area under the bench somewhat open. There are some things that I intend to store down here, like jacks and jack stands, that I really didn't want to post in the way. I wanted that kind of open area. And this is, I mean, it can take my weight. So it's plenty strong. Now I just got to cut the plywood to fit on top. Well, guys, it's plenty dark now, but it's done. I now have a workbench, and it is very, very sturdy, and it was all made of scrap wood that I had laying around. So other than the screws, the only thing I bought, and I bought that to do the other shelf project, and they were leftovers, but I did work through them. So for some cheap, affordable shelves, I think this came out pretty good. Now I'm not done. There are some more that I want to do. Still got this long, skinny piece right there that I plan on using in a little cubby hole in the other room for some shelves there as well. But it's getting late and I don't feel like doing that now. With me having to leave a couple times throughout the day, I didn't get accomplished as much as I wanted, but we'll be back to finish this project. All right, guys, back over at the shop after a couple of days of hiatus to get some more things done. So I'm actually trying to remember when was the last time I was here. It was either Wednesday or Thursday. It's when we built these shelves. That's all part of this video. So for you guys, it's only been a couple of seconds, but I took kind of a long weekend. Grayson, Zach, and I went camping. I remember last week we had a video up with the ride out to Junaluska to pick a camp spot, and we did the camping trip. It came out really nice, and that video will be posted up on the HALSTEAD HOMESTEAD channel. And also over the weekend when we got home, I was doing some more tractor work around the house, and I actually broke my tractor and, well, sprung a leak anyways. I got hydraulic fluid spraying everywhere, so it's probably an easy fix, but haven't got around to fixing it yet. That video will also be on the HALSTEAD HOMESTEAD channel. So if you guys are interested in any of that, go over there and check out those videos. Now, at this very moment, those videos are not actually listed for public. They've been uploaded. I just haven't finished modifying them. So you may actually see this before those. Those may be up before this. I don't know. But also, this morning, Ron brought me my truck back, guys. I'm so excited about that. My truck's been gone for over a month now. And, well, right about a month, actually. And it's kind of nice to have it back. I haven't needed it while it was gone, but it's nice to have it back. So that video will probably come out before this one does, too. So you guys probably already know that. But that puts you in timeline of where we are. So now it is Monday morning after the long weekend. I want to get back to getting these shelves in. And if I get time, I may put up a few more lights. And guys, remember, if you're interested in any of the tractor work or the stuff we do around the homestead, please go check out the HALSTEAD HOMESTEAD channel. Make sure you subscribe there as well. Just like with the trucking channel and this channel, we want to get that to at least the 1,000 subscriber mark. We've got to get a certain amount of numbers of watch hours there in order to be able to monetize that. And that means a lot to me to get there. So if you guys don't mind helping out, and if you enjoy that kind of content, go over there, subscribe, hit the like button, all that other stuff that YouTubers are supposed to say that I never say in my videos hardly ever. But in this particular case, it's not for this channel, it's for that channel. But if you like this video, you can obviously thumbs up it as well, whatever. But, you know, growth is difficult sometimes. And with 3 channels, it's actually a little bit challenging. I'm up for the challenge though, and I'm having fun with it. But I still want to see that monetization process happen, because then there is a little bit of a reward at the end other than just my self-satisfaction. Now back to the topic at hand. I will probably build a similar station to this over here in this corner. However, most of these barrels of oil are full, and I really don't feel like moving them right now. So that may have to wait for a while, because I don't really have a good spot to move these. I mean, yes, I can move them out of my way and I can build that, but I'm going to put them somewhere else where they're going to have to get moved again. And I've got an idea of where I want to store these oil barrels once I get the whole ensemble set up exactly the way I want. But they're definitely not going to stay here. But today, I think we're going to move over to the far bay. Where am I pointing at? Yeah, that bay over there. We're going to move over there and build a couple small shelves and a little cubby hole that's already there. So as you walk in this bay, we've got this area here, kind of like a little cubby hole here. So I'm going to build some shelves in there because I can't really use that space for much else. And then we'll do the same thing over there. But first, let me get this door open so we get some better light in here. Now that's more like it. Now, again, these are probably just going to be some plywood shelves. I do have a concrete wall this way and a wood wall this way. So I can come up with a creative way to support those shelves and actually attach them. But I'm sure we'll come up with something. All right, I've opened up this door as well. It is actually going to be quite warm today. This afternoon's high is going to be about 82 degrees. And we're not quite there yet. It's early afternoon right now, but it's definitely warm for an April day here in North Carolina. I guess we're in a little bit more of a funky mood today. Now look at me, already putting those shelves to use. All right, so in this area, what I did here is I took a 2x4 that was scrap laying around and I toe-nailed it into the 2x4 support that is behind this. That way it's good and stable and I can run shelves across. Now I only went about halfway because I want to leave an area up here for hanging stuff and just a few shelves down here. Now the bottom ledge was a little narrow. So again, one of those pieces of scraps that I got for free, screwed it in to make it considerably wider. Now there's plenty of room there as a shelf. So now we'll cut a couple pieces of plywood, that narrow piece I've got that's long. I think I can get 2 or 3 of those and just put a couple shelves in between. All right, and there we go. Now I got 3 shelves there, plus an area up top that I can use to hang some of the hanging tools and items that I have. Of course, I need to get rid of all the old wasp nests as well. Now, hindsight being 2020, what I should have done on this is just cut them 16 inches, put it in, and ran the shelf all the way to the wall on top, and we wouldn't have this gap. It would look just like the top, but I wasn't thinking clearly, so that's probably what I'll do on the next set. All right, so I did basically the similar thing over here. Got a couple of shelves there. Again, left room up top. Now, I feel like I'm gonna want a shelf or something running along top of these windows here, and maybe a workbench area here in the middle, but I'm not real sure exactly where to put it. So some stuff like that may have to wait until I get the lifts over here, my other workbench that I've got built at home that's gonna come against this back wall. Once I get it all laid out and configure it the way that I know it's gonna fit, because right now it's all theory and things may not fit the way that I think they're gonna fit. Like I said, I'd love to fit 3 lifts in here. I have a feeling I'm only gonna fit 2 comfortably. And then where am I gonna put the 3rd one? I don't know. Maybe I got some room over one of these other bays to put a 3rd one, like for projects. We'll figure that out. So I think now I'm gonna work on getting some more lights in here and call the shelf project done for the moment. All right, so before we went to Bike Week, I bought more of these 8-foot LED lights that I've got hanging up here, and a bunch of different types of connectors. So what we've got here are these little joint connectors. So this can literally plug into the end of one of those light fixtures, and then you can plug a second light fixture directly into it, butt to butt, no wire in between. So if you want to run a strip of them, those are a good option. I also have a bunch of these that plug into the lights that just have the 3-wire ends on those, which are like what I used to hook up to the initial power source, where I had the building wiring coming through a hole. I install one of these and then the light just plugs in. And I've got 2 packs of those. Now here I have a bunch of different types of connecting wires. Now I got multiple part numbers here at different lengths, and those work just like those butt connectors, but there's a wire length in between. So I think I've got some that are like 3 feet in between, some that are 10 feet in between, or 5. I don't even remember what I ordered. I had to get them all pulled out, but I definitely want to get some more lights running here. In addition, I have these little metal clips, and these are going to make it a lot easier to install the lights. So these are designed for those lights to clip right into. So I just had to screw in 2 of them in a linear pattern, basically. And then the light comes up, it just snaps into place, plug the light in. It's literally that easy. Now the lights should have come with a lot of that stuff with it as well, but they never send enough. So all that is extras to go along with these. So I'm gonna get one of these boxes opened up. We'll start laying out what we want to do. All right, you can see with the box open, these even come with a few of these switched leads. And these will actually come in really handy, like over a workbench area where I want to have a light for working on projects, but I don't necessarily want that light on all the time. It's like 3 of those, 4. All right, 5. This looks like it's coming with a bunch of those. Okay, but see, here's one of those leads. That's about, what, 18, 20 inches? Just plugs in either end. Whole bunch of stuff here. Let me get it all laid out. All right, so like I said, not knowing exactly how you're gonna install them, they send you a variety of things. So you've even got a bunch of these little U-shaped clamps. Now, there's only 14 of them, and there are 10 bulbs. Now, these fit the bulbs just about perfect, which is really nice. But then we send 14 of them, so you couldn't hang all 10 bulbs because you would need 20 of them if you wanted to put 2 on each bulb. So that's kind of weird that they give you that number. Send an assortment of these little drywall anchors and screws. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's 14 packs of those. And then we've got these little utility packs. They've got those little butt connectors in it we were talking about, plus the metal brackets that I already showed you, along with a cap where you can plug off an unused end. And of course, it looks like about 14 bags of that as well. There is a handful of the starter leads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's only 10 of those. And then you've got these leads here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. And then there were 5 of, 2, 3, yeah, 5 of the switched leads. So maybe they're figuring in your combinations, you're only gonna use so many of those, but that's why I bought extras, because I didn't know exactly how I was gonna do it. I wanted to make sure I had everything here that I needed when it came time to do the installs. So as you see right there, I've already got the one light there coming from the switched lead from the wall, but you can see where there were more on the ceiling. So I'm gonna run at least a row of 3 here. There's already one there, so I need to install 2 more lights here. Then over here, we've got the one, so there's gonna be another one above the door and another one there. What's kind of cool about that is where it's gonna get placed above the door is right where the windows are gonna be. So even with the door up, that light will still shine in here somewhat, and with the door down, we'll get really good light. So I know I'm gonna install at least 4 more lights just right there. I definitely want one above that bench. Now that may be one that I put on the switched lead, because I may only turn that on when I'm actually working on that bench. Probably gonna put one along this wall here where I plan on putting the tire machine and stuff underneath. I'm gonna put 3 or 4 more over in that room as well. All right, so I just went up on the step stool and I put in 2 of those little metal brackets, and I believe I got them relatively straight to one another. And that's the tricky part, is they've gotta be in the right position. If you've got a seam or something you can follow to make sure they stay in line is usually best. Now here, there is the marking of what used to be a fluorescent light there. So I used that as a guide, went to the center of that, like 1/3 of the way into that sheet of plywood and another 1/3 in that way. That way this will be supported in 2 spots. Now I'm gonna get up there and see if I can't click it in and if it goes as easy as I think it should. All right, so there's the one bracket and the other is right there. So we should be able to just, it's hard to do looking at the camera, keep it in view and do it by hand. So that should just go in there. We should be able to roll this in and pop it into place. In theory. See, I'm not quite square, so I gotta make an adjustment there. All right, well, I couldn't do it while holding the camera, but I had them in the right place. Well, there you go. That light is now attached to the ceiling. I'm gonna put one more in between here and that one. All right, on that one, I used the ladder in multiple positions. It got them spread apart a little further. Still didn't get my math right. You see that one, it's a little closer to that light than this one is to that light. And I can shift it another 4 or 5 inches there. That may be all that it takes. Yeah, so I just reached up there and slid it down. Once it's in the track, they can slide back and forth at least as far as till it hits the ends. So now I'm gonna grab the jumper wires and run in between, and they should all light up. All right, so 2 of these will make the magic happen. All right, got it plugged into that one, getting ready to plug it into this one, and it should all light up beautifully. And there we go. Let's go plug in that other one. Wow, and those are even brighter than the ones that I already had. You may not be able to tell, but there's a lot more LEDs in this one than there is in this one, and it's a slightly different color code or color temperature range, however you call that. But 2 light fixtures installed in less than 10 minutes. I think that's a pretty good deal. Now we just got a bunch more to do. All right, guys, the next row is in. Now this one, I use those little horseshoe clamps because if you look right in the middle, there is a crossbar trim piece going right here on the ceiling. So those, I was able to use a longer screw and draw that in, and it kind of conformed to it. And speaking of screws, the screws that come with these kits, they suck. Guys, if you're gonna do a project like this, just go buy a cheap box of drywall screws or something. Just little short 1 inches or 1 1/4, whatever is really all you need. The problem I'm having is the Phillips head on the screw doesn't fit any of my Phillips bits very well. It must be like a metric Phillips or like a JIS type standard, and I don't have the proper tip here to fit it. So if you get even a little bit off a straightness, it just starts spinning in the head. They're just junk, plain and simple. So another set of good screws to make all the difference in the world when installing these. Now you notice that these aren't in direct line with one another. This one, right there, you see I got them zigzagged over, and then that one over there comes back over and goes that way. And that was so that when this door is in the up position, that light is right there where the windows are, shining down into the bay still. Okay guys, so now with all of the lights up in this bay, I also added lights to this bay, and it is super bright now. The bay on the far end, I added 2 more here, plus 2 across that beam, so it's pretty well lit up. And then in the tall bay, I ran 3 over the top. Now, I still need to tether up my wires, but I ran out of sheet metal screws. In fact, I didn't even bring any sheet metal screws to screw the brackets in up here. I just got lucky and I found 6 screws in top of my step ladder in the little pocket on top. I don't remember what they were there from because I haven't worked on any sheet metal stuff in a while, but I'm glad I found them. So I was able to mount those 3 lights. I've got another spot where some wires are hanging, and like in there, you can see that wire is drooping. And I've actually got these keepers like so that I can nail in there. Problem is, I forgot to bring my hammer. So I did have to put one in right up here above this spring in the garage door because it was interfering with the spring. But because I didn't bring a hammer, I had to use this, and it wasn't easy. So the rest of them will wait until I do bring a hammer. But guys, check it out. It is so lit up in here that like it's wonderful. In fact, it is so bright that I didn't even notice how dark it had gotten outside. But I think that's it for now. Done with this project for the moment. You know, I've got other things I still want to do here, but we've got less than a week until we head out to Florida to go to the Leesburg Bike Fest and the 75 Chrome Shop Truck Show. So stick around if you want to see footage for that. We're going to leave here on Sunday, and I've got stuff I've got to get finished up on Goliath as well. So this may be the last video on the shop until we go do that trip. I think. I was hoping to get the security cameras in and everything too, but I just don't know that that's going to happen. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And until the next time I see you, keep those engines running. And I still have 6 lights left.